got an urgent call from my wife telling me that she was heading to the hospital on an emergency basis and fully expected to have our child that day. I was extremely scared and concerned, so I hopped into a cab and on the way made my reservation on the plane, got to LaGuardia and was en route to Chicago before I knew it.
When she did her ultrasound at approximately 20 weeks, they noticed that the placenta was covering the cervix, and that is called a placenta previa. There are times when that condition persists through the duration of the pregnancy, and that poses a risk factor for bleeding and earlier delivery.
My wife started getting very concerned once the previa was not moving, and was exhibiting all sorts of fears, later premonitions of doom.
I was slightly haunted by her premonitions and her worry because she's a very calm and cool, collected person.
We just knew that given what placenta previa, she's at increased risk for bleeding. So we had extra blood available. We had talked to her about having additional intravenous access and potential for blood transfusions.
The last communication I had with her was to the effect that they could not wait and they were literally rolling her down the hallway in a gurney, and she told me that she loved me and I told her that I loved her.
After the baby was born, he was fine. There appeared to be some abnormality with delivering the placenta. I rushed to the head of the bed. I looked at Stephanie and she was appearing to have a seizure. Her skin color was purple, blue. Stephanie had no heart function. We took over her body functions. We started chest compressions. We gave her medications to give her a blood pressure. We put a breathing tube in her airway and we took over the breathing for her.
Stephanie experienced an amniotic fluid embolus, which occurs very rarely in approximately 1 to 10,000 to 1 in 15,000 deliveries. Because that is such a rapidly fatal event, because of inability to clot blood and damage to your lungs and potentially heart and brain, that event is fatal in about 50% of cases when patients experience this event in the first hour. She did not have a pulse and she wasn't breathing. That is considered clinically dead.
I coded. I flatlined. I was clinically dead for 37 seconds.
She was unconscious for 6 days. So she had a massive, massive quantity of equipment that was supporting her life.
The biggest step was when her lungs were able to sustain her oxygenation and her breathing tube came out.
The next thing I remember was being extubated and saying to my husband, "Am I still freaking pregnant?" And he said, he knew I was gonna be okay, because on the one hand I knew exactly where I was, and on the second hand I was cursing. So for him, he was relieved.
And I showed her pictures, and it was a very tearful moment.
This hospital saved my life. Literally saved my life. It wasn't like an almost near-death experience. I died, I came back. Everybody had their hands on me and everybody takes a part in saving my life, and everybody says over and over again it was a team effort. The overwhelming premonition that I had day in and day out was that I was going to die during delivery of this baby. I just feel that I had a team of doctors that ultimately heard what I was saying, didn't brush it off, and were prepared for the worst case scenario. It's completely unpreventable, it's completely unpredictable, and it's usually fatal.
In terms of her recovery, she's done amazingly well. She's been off of dialysis for several months now. Her kidneys have completely recovered. And in terms of her mental status, she's the Stephanie that we know and love. By supporting the Friends of Prentice, you are helping physicians support their patients and support the team around them by educating and collaborating and preparing for the worst clinical scenarios and turning them into clinical successes.
I think if I delivered anywhere else, I wouldn't be here talking right now. Every one of those people at that hospital saved my life. everyone. It sounds so trivial just to say thank you. But thank you.